Hi everyone, my name is Joseph and welcome to Digimon Seekers, the Epilogue. So after almost a whole year, Seekers has come to a close, and this is the last set of collection of quotes that I'm going to read with everyone. Before I start, I just want to thank everyone who joined me in this journey, in this little adventure. It was really cool, especially seeing again, as I said before, different points of view from some of the users here from the community, and also participating in something that was coming out weekly that was brand new, not just with my audience, but also away from it as well within the Digimon community via social media, having conversations or discussions. It was a lot of fun. And I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to Digimon Liberator. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. Let's look at the first quote that I have. His exploits at the SOC's Gateway Festival were the hot topic all across the deep web. He was among the first humans to travel to the depths of the digital world and live to tell about it. More than that, his venture into the unknown was a success. Everyone involved, Yolene, Koski, Leon, and the others, agreed to never divulge full details to the public, and had thus far kept the word. Then again, the fact that an upstart code cracker by the name of E.G. Nagasumi rescued Leon Alexander's consciousness and brought him back from being digitally missing in action was hard to keep under wraps. So the reason why I want to point this quote out is actually, well, first of all, I'm happy for E.G. that he's finally getting some recognition for the things that he's doing, because as I've been saying since the beginning of the story, and even he points it out a little bit, that he's not as astute as Leon, but despite that, again, I would argue that he's still a different kind of clever. But to be frank with everyone, I wanted to get this quote as well, not, I guess, to nitpick a little bit. I guess I'm a little bit shocked that only E.G. will have the glory and the fame from this little adventure, this escapade. But then at first it was a bit of a nitpick, but then when I started thinking about it, I came to the conclusion that actually this makes a lot of sense, because although Yolene was in the source domain, she was forced there after her battle with Koski. Although Koski was in the source domain as well, his Digimon was hijacked, unfortunately, Doromon, by Professor Ruzenji, and Koski was also unconscious for most of the climactic portions. And although Leon was in the source domain, it's not like he was by choice, right? He was only there from DMIA, from this group of, and then the professor, although he was the only one who went there from agency because he had a plan to get to the source domain in order to use the source Digimon, he was defeated. His plan was not able to come to fruition, and thus he was forced to go back to what he's typically doing, which we'll discuss later. So from all this group of individuals, E.G. certainly is the only one who was quote-unquote successful. I think even Koski says this a little bit at the end of the story, when there's a quick flashback where he says, Operation 4 complete. Although all the steps weren't completed verbatim, most of the steps were completed. So at first I didn't really like this little detail. It was a bit of a nitpick. I felt like a bit of a rush in terms of pacing. But then I stopped and thought about it, and he was among the first humans to travel to the depths of the digital world and live to tell about it. I wish another sentence, who knows, maybe in the original translation this is present, but I do wish in the sentence there was an additional sentence I just included, and lived to tell about it from his own point of view, from his own voice, his own experience, something like that, right? Because again, Yolene definitely was there as well, so was Koski, but they were not really pushing the scene forward. They were being rescued by E.G. and his plan with the Tyrannomon and everything like that. But also I do like how it is a little bit realistic, because it is true, if in the real world a dangerous medical mystery all of a sudden was solved, it would be hard to keep secret. It would be hard to not release to the public. And actually, it's kind of funny that we're discussing this, because right now I'm playing Trails into Rivalry video game, and minor spoilers, I won't be specific, but the game opens up with a certain nation trying to become independent, but unfortunately they become taken over. And the next part of the story, you see it from a different perspective, and by the end of that second part, everyone's on the same page, but they're also trying to keep what occurred at this nation under wraps, because if it gets out released to the public, it might inadvertently cause another war or another some kind of power struggle. So everyone who knows about it are doing their best to keep it under wraps, away from the public. So it kind of reminds me of this a little bit, just because even the game itself says we're only be able to keep this secret for a little while. This is too big. It's going to leak eventually. Same idea with this, right? If it was something smaller, it was something much more personal and individualized, and one might argue, well, this was Koski trying to save his fiance. But he was never telling people that was his main goal, right? We mustn't forget that the Sons of Chaos, their mission objective to the public was advocacy for freedom, freedom within the network. That was Koski's private, personal goal. So since he attached it to something very public, that's why it'll be hard to keep under wraps. It'll be hard to keep secret. Anyways, but yeah, that's why I picked out that quote. I'm so glad we finally got a share. I'm so finally we get to share a drink, Leon. All this time I've been thinking about how badly I wanted to make this moment a reality, and now it's actually happening. And you made it happen because you came looking for me. So thank you once again. What's all this once again business? All this painful earnestness is gonna make me cringe. Hey, you gotta tell people how you feel while you have the chance. So I just like this for the camaraderie that's being in display. I probably have not said this as much as I would like to, but I have said it before, not just in the Seekers videos, but in other videos. I really appreciate it when any form of storytelling emphasizes a relationship in terms of friendship. Because I feel like a lot of stories always focuses in terms of a romantic relationships. If something is present in terms of love, if it's not romantic, then it's familial. Not too often do we get it from the perspective of just friends being friends, right? Bros being bros, sisters being sisters, or sisters being sisters. No, yeah, sisters, my bad, because sisters kind of sounded too similar to sissy. But obviously, hopefully one knows I was not trying to say that version. Sisters, apostrophe S, being sisters. A really good example I could think of would be like Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Buffy and her friend Willow. I believe that was her friend's name. Another one would be from Final Fantasy 15. Probably for me, the best part of that video game would be the friendship that was at display between Noctis, Gladios, Prompto, and Ignis. I mean, the fact I couldn't even remember the names still, even though I haven't played it in over a year, maybe closer to 2 years, just shows how much that story really gravitated with me, and it did because of the story that it was telling in terms of the binds that one forms with their loved ones away from a romantic sense. So that's why I like this line. And you made it happen because you came looking for me. So thank you once again. I really love the addition of that because it tells us, the readers, that Leon is appreciative. This is not the first time he's saying it. He's still aware. As it turns out, there's been a bit of a time skip at this point, almost a year, possibly a full year. And despite that, Leon's still saying thank you. What's all this once again business? All this painful earnestness is gonna make me cringe. Hey, you gotta tell people how you feel while you have the chance. I know it's really simple, but I just think it's a very, dare I say, a beautiful line, because I truly believe it is. You gotta tell people how you feel while you have the chance. Besides for the obvious death, no one really knows when someone's going to die. That's an obvious example. Or use a more personal, or rather a more grounded example. The friends that we have today, especially the younger that we are, when we're in high school, out of high school, in college, out of college, typically it's not uncommon for our friends to drop a little bit in terms of numbers. And it doesn't mean that we're just not friendly with one another. It's just because as individuals, there's a tendency for people to grow. And so you got to tell people how you feel while you have the chance. I feel like that really just emphasizes the live in the moment kind of idea, that what today is, it could be different tomorrow. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Catcher in the Rye, Holden's catchphrase. I'm paraphrasing. Never tell anyone anything because you're just going to end up missing them. And essentially what that line is saying is don't converse with people, because by conversing with them, you're going to start a relationship. And thus, once you have a relationship, you're going to find yourself missing them where they're not in your presence. So I just like that. I think it's a very lovely line. And also going back to this once again business, this reminds me a lot of like just adding a little bit of flair to the story. I don't know if one's ever seen Deadwood. Minor spoilers, but in Deadwood the movie, there's just one character who gets caught, and someone in the crowd, just a random nobody, not even one of the main characters, I shouldn't say that because everyone ever seen Deadwood, besides for the protagonist, the town itself really feels like it's its own character. But the individual who says this is just a townsperson. They don't have a name. They just live within Deadwood. And so after this person gets arrested, this random individual just shouts from the crowd, "I hope you die in an alleyway like my dad did." Just the addition of that line, "like my dad did," just the line, "I hope you die in an alleyway," that really shows so much personal vendetta. I really don't like you. I really hope bad things occurs to you. But then to include "like my dad did," again, this is already a personal statement coming from someone, obviously from a place of disdain. And then to include "like my dad did," now one is making it even extra personal. I compare you to someone who has raised me and who I did not like, and I hope you die like them, right? So I just feel like it adds a little bit of extra oomph to the line. When I was saying the word you, hope everyone knows I wasn't talking to the audience. I was talking from the perspective of that character from Deadwood. So just the inclusion of that line, what's all this once again business? Or rather, the original line, and you made it happen because you came looking for me. You came looking for me. So thank you once again. They could have they being the writers could have just ended this line. So thank you, period. So I appreciate the addition of once again. And then lastly, I just like the camaraderie that's being at display right from the get-go. We have EG saying, I've been wanting to have this moment, share a drink with my friend, and now it's finally become a reality. And you know what? I think they deserve this little reality check. Moving forward, that's right. Before I forget this, it's my birthday present. Leon brought out his Digimon Linker arm. Oh, what? EG is also so right here. I think there's some translation issues, so bear with me. EG also takes off his arm with the Digimon Linker and receives data sent by Leon. I have compiled information that can be shared regarding the incident in Country X last month. Oh, seriously? That's helpful. You really don't have any regrets. That bald guy. After checking the data, EG ordered a refill on the store's tablet computer. Once you get a taste of Digimon crimes, that terrorist nation has no other core industry. As expected, these days he doesn't call out the SOC and make false accusations anymore. Pardon me. Accusations anymore. That bald dictator needs some more moxibustion. The next time something happens in Country X as a hacker, I believe they're saying I will not tolerate it. It says I will tolerate it. The next time something happens in Country X as a hacker, I will not tolerate it. Oh yeah? Look at you getting out conspiratorial. What a productive meeting of the hacker and codecracker minds. So at first I was just going to ignore this line just because of the minor translation issues. But the reason why I really like this line is mostly because of the last dialogue. Look at you getting out conspiratorial. What a productive meeting of the hacker and codecracker minds. At the beginning of the story, I would argue that Leon would not be willing to work with EG. I mean, we already saw that they got into this huge fight because of the fact that EG is a code cracker while Leon is a hacker. Yet by the end of the story, I really love and enjoy the fact that they are now working together, essentially stating that code crackers and hackers, they're two sides of the same coin. The only difference is that code crackers have a tendency to do a bit more illegal activities because they're typically not working with an official organization, the way that Yolene is, the way that Leon is. But that doesn't mean that code crackers are bad individuals, because then we have a group like the Sons of Chaos, who they were advocating for Digimon freedom while at the same time secretly trying to rescue a person. And while it is true that Kosuke is selfish, he probably should have been upfront with the group about what he was really trying to do. I think we'll be hard pressed to find someone who's saying that trying to rescue someone, that's a selfish act to do. So he was trying to do something selfless via selfish means. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm sorry, I actually kind of lost my train of thought. The Sons of Chaos, they run a bad, thank you for your patience by the way, they run a bad group. They were just doing meeting objectives through a different kind of means. And as it turns out, they were being framed by that X Nation. If one forgot, Sons of Chaos were being blamed for that airplane incident, but as it turns out, it wasn't them, it was the X Nation or Country X. Additionally, what I also like about this is just that it shows how life has moved on since the end of part 12 of chapter 4. Although we're not seeing the details unfolding live, the fact that EG and Leon are discussing this makes the world feel more alive, in my opinion. Makes it feel like things are actually occurring, and that's something I could really appreciate. Again, making it in the same way that Deadwood, the town feels alive. I like how there seems to be an effort to make this story's world feel lived in. And then it's just also pointing out that essentially there's some individuals, some code crackers who they don't learn their lesson. They continue to do illicit activity, but at least the Sons of Chaos are no longer being framed. And we'll find out a little bit why about this, because as it turns out, they have a new leader. They have a new leadership. So continuing forward, the force split. So at this point, Yolene and Satsuki has joined EG and Leon. The force split a large bottle of beer, and the conversation gradually loosened. So what was that little bit of data you two shared with each other just as we walked in? Come on, show me, you little punk, Satsuki barked. Ooh, are we gonna have to cut you off after one bottle? You're pretty heated. You're getting pretty heated, Iji said as he yanked his Digimon linker arm away from Satsuki's prying hands. Leave him alone, Satsuki. We're off duty, remember? There's no such thing as a day off for the Digi-Police, Satsuki shouted in full defiance of her superior. Such was their working relationship. I think you need to make some friends other than that slug of yours. Don't think you can say whatever you want just because you're cute, Leon Alexander, Satsuki snapped, jabbing her finger at Leon's face. Go on, have another glass, Ichi said, angling for more drama. Oop, okay, Satsuki said. This is cause for celebration. We finally get to have a nice little chat. And in the real world, no less, E.G. beamed. It felt good to shed their labels and talk to one another like real human beings. So right off the bat, let me go I do have a little bit of social commentary in addition to why I really enjoy this line. So that last line, it felt good to share their labels and talk to one another like real human beings. That's something that I could totally relate with, and I'm sure not just myself, but probably other people as well. Especially because I've noticed that ever since COVID and the pandemic, there's also been articles about this. I think it's called the third space, the reduction of the third space. And what is that third space? The social area. The first space is the home. The second space is the work setting. I guess for individuals who are still students, the workspace would be the college world. And I guess if one is working, that means they'll have two workspaces. Well, I guess technically 4 spaces. Anyways, I'm not too well versed. Let me just focus on what I do know. So to reiterate, the first space is the home. The second space is the workplace. And then the third space is supposed to be the place where one socializes, where one gathers. Really good examples about this would be from like shows like How I Met Your Mother, Friends, According to Jim, I guess not really Roseanne, or According to Jim, excuse me, not those two, but Friends and How I Met Your Mother, because they were a group of friends that would typically meet not just at their home setting, but also away from that as well. So since the pandemic, since COVID, there has been a reduction of the third space. And because of that, there's also, sociologists are noticing a reduction in social skills and relationships being formed as well. And as someone whose job where I work with multiple groups of people, I do see this, and it's a little bit, I'm not going to say concerning because that's traumatic. I frankly don't like 100% care because I'm doing my own thing. But it is something that's noticeable. Like, for example, back then, when I was in high school and college, I would speak with my friends, not just during the school setting, but outside of it. And then, so high school would be a simple example, right? Meeting them outside of the campus. But then even at college, so let me rephrase that. At the high school setting, socialization occurred outside of it. But back then, when I was a college student, socialization also occurred on the college campus. Before the class started, when students were sitting in the classroom during the break, I'm not going to include clubs because obviously clubs, the whole purpose is socialization. But my point is that, and students will sometimes walk with one another as well, groups of them, because they were going to the same parking lot or the same direction towards the parking lot before dispersing. I don't really see that anymore occurring, so I don't like to be personal, but I am a college professor. That's my profession. And so I have noticed that drastic change. And one also sees this reflected on social media as well. More people, since there's especially places like Reddit, where there's an impersonal persona. It's not personal. You don't have to review your real information. That's also affecting socialization skills. So it just was really cool that Digimon Seekers, it felt good to share their labels and talk to one another like real human beings. Because what Ichi's pointing out right here, they have communicated with one another in the past, but it wasn't through their real life personas. It was through their monkey ears, through their Digimon, through mind linking. And there's nothing wrong with that. They were still communicating with one another. But it is true, to progress a relationship, I like the fact that they're now making it more personal. They're not using a third party, their linker strap or their Digimon, as a vehicle to communicate. They're just meeting up and communicating now. And then going back to the quote itself, I just really appreciate the party dynamic that's at play right here. It really does feel like it's just a group of dare I say friends, at the very least accomplices, who are getting together and just trying to have a really good time. I love how Satsuki, she's still the same individual that she is. She's defiant, but she's defiant for understandable reasons, because she's just always in her professional mode, and so she's always trying to keep what Leon and EG is doing, especially because they were sharing information with one another. But the fact that she yells, or not yells, but shouts defiantly towards Yolene, I just like that description as well. The fact that she's yelling at Leon as well, and also additionally, EG's telling Satsuki, uh-oh, looks like you've had a bit too much to drink, yet despite that, he's trying to give her more to drink, and even tells her, we might have to cut you off, and despite that, she says, oop, literally O-O-P, oop, okay, as she's giving her another glass. So this is just a very, dare I say, a cute line, block of dialogue, a cute passage. I like how one could they wanted to connect that last line for real social commentary in our real world, but also in terms of the story itself, it just adds so much to the cast. I think it's a lot of fun. Moving forward, Leon and EG prevailed. They'd activated a fusion digivolution deep down inside the Digicore's Funeral Logomon and Koichimon with the shared desire to put a stop to any monster that would toy with the lives of others. And now they stood victorious. Only Doromon remained in the wake of the attack. Funeral Logomon scooped up the data type prototype Digimon for safekeeping. The attack from Tamakachi had at least freed the small Digimon from Professor Ruzenji's restraints. This is more superficial. I just picked out this quote because I really enjoyed how the story didn't brush or gloss over Doromon, because I was worried about Doromon, especially because the way that last part ended, it seemed like his form was being really transformed in a malicious kind of way. But to see that Doromon has been freed, but not only freed, but reverted back to his original form, I was happy to read that. And also the fact that Funeral Logomon scooped up the prototype Digimon for safekeeping. Again, the use of that language makes it seem like they could have just said Funeral Logomon picked up Doromon and that's it. But for the safekeeping edition, for me, it makes me imagine Funeral Logomon really, well, he doesn't have hands, right? Maybe nudging him with his head and keeping him close to his side, on his back. I just again liked with the other line that Leon added. Once again, I like this additional line because I feel like it adds more. So it was, and also I also liked it because it reinforces how EG and Leon have the same mindset, their shared desire to put a stop to any monster. So again, it's emphasizing how despite being two labels, a code cracker and a hacker, they're two sides of the same coin and they can work together when needed. So I like this quote for superficial reasons, but I think it adds to the things that we've been discussing so far. The next quote, Operation Tartarus Phase 4 complete. Kosuke, is that you? EG said, spinning around to locate the voice. He spotted Kosuke's hollow-eyed form standing beside Yolene with Yodomon and EG's 3 Pterodamon at the altar. We didn't complete the mission to the letter, but I'm counting this as a win, Kosuke said, revealing the black Agumon next to him. Kosuke, the black Agumon said in a small voice, gripping his hand tightly with all their might. Thank you, EG, from the bottom of my heart, Kosuke said. EG was at a loss for words, but Funeral Logomon's hastily downgrade back to Logomon alerted him to a much more important matter. Yeesh, I'm about to hit my limit here. Sorry to cut and run, but I've got to go, like 5 minutes ago. Great job, everybody. So this line, also for superficial reasons, I really appreciate how it's honestly, the first time I read it, I think because I was kind of not skimming it, but I was excited to finish the story. I didn't even realize that this black Agumon spoke the first time. And so when Kosuke thanked EG, I was a bit confused. But the second time that I read it, it clicked. I was like, oh, how did I miss that by accident, that little detail? And I think it's a really lovely, sweet detail to include. So again, as another user pointed out, Kosuke is not 100% innocent, and we talked about this a little bit with this video too. Again, he did have a selfish objective, but he was trying to achieve it very selfishly, not revealing the truth to people, and kind of, dare I say, using other people because their main objective was freedom on the network, being able to do what one wants to do with their free will while on the network. That's definitely something that Kosuke was upholding, but it wasn't the main idea that he formed the Sons of Chaos for. So even though Kosuke is a gray individual, in the end, I did feel for Saya, and I really did truly believe that Saya was dead, and I do believe she is dead physically. Her human body is gone, so essentially her consciousness is now living within Black Agumon. And that raised a lot of questions, such as, is this Black Agumon going to age? What happened to Black Agumon's personality, his consciousness? I do feel bad. I'm really hoping that they're present within the Saya's mind, that although the rest of us can't hear Black Agumon, Saya is able to hear Black Agumon, and they're happy with one another, right, coexisting within one vessel, essentially. So it does raise a lot of questions. So this is superficially, it is a happy moment, a happy thing that's occurring. But the questions that it does raise, I'm not too upset at that. I think for me, it elevates the story because it makes me think about the story still and continue developing maybe headcanon kind of things, right? So headcanon, as in, it may not be officially stated explicitly, but with textual evidence, we could say that maybe this did occur, and until it's disproven, that could be part of our headcanon, or at least part of my headcanon. So yeah, then it's quite sad too, though. I do wish that AG had a more relevant line, but it does make sense because in the previous part, in part 12, it did state that they were already at their limit, that Fenrir Logomon's next attack, it needed to be the one that won the battle because there was no time for prolonging of that battle. So yeah, moving forward. So anyway, Hatsune continued. Professor Ruzenchi. So before I continue, so Hatsune is a secretary. It's so cool because that part that I read earlier when everyone was drinking and Satsuki's yelling and Yolin's saying calm down, and Leon is just hanging out with AG. I was thinking to myself, oh man, you know who I kind of miss? Hatsune. And I know I did forget her name a little bit. I did recall it. With an H, Hatsune, something like that. And although I didn't think they would bring her back, they being the writers in the story at this epilogue, even if they didn't bring her back, I still would have appreciated her addition to the story. Because again, it makes it feel more alive, more fleshed out. It would make sense for a research facility, a university setting to have a receptionist of some kind. But the fact that the writers brought Hatsumi back as a reader, I found that really cool. Kind of like, I guess, a slice of life kind of detail. It's just really awesome to have all these different people getting together just to have a good time, not to fight, not to plan, just to celebrate. So anyway, Hatsune continued. Professor originally said he wants to come. E.G., Leon, and Yolene simultaneously spat out their drinks. Ha! Hatsu? Ichi choked out through a coughing fit. Are you serious? Leon managed. Yeah, but I'm in charge of his scheduling for Japan, and he had another meeting he couldn't get out of. So I went ahead and canceled his appearance here. A meeting? With the U.S. Secretary of Defense. He was all set to take a private jet out there. And everything. It's a real shame, she lamented. Eiji and Leon locked eyes. Oh man, that was close, Eiji said with a heavy sigh. Thank you, Pentagon. Mission accomplished. Leon matched a sigh of relief. Yolene, too, looked more at ease. So I found this line to be wild. I'm not going to read this line, but there is a passage that states that the professor, after his defeat at the hands of Eiji, Leon, and Fenrir Logomon, he had no ill feelings towards them. He didn't do anything to try to retaliate against them. In fact, it seems like if Leon wanted to stay at the apartment that the professor was paying for, he may have allowed him to do that, he being the professor. So it's a really interesting how, I'm not going to say the professor seems like a sociopath, a psychopath. I always get those two confused, but just the way that he was so amiable at the beginning of the story, he uses his daughter's death and uses the people. I'm sorry, everyone, give me a quick second. I'm not going to lie, since I was looking up, since I was participating in the community, I do have Discord open. I think that's what that noise is, one is hearing in the background. So let me just get rid of that really quick because it is distracting me a little bit. I don't want to distract you guys as well. But thank you for your patience. I should be good to go now. Anyways, as I was saying, I guess I was incorrect. Oh my gosh. That's one thing why I don't really use Discord as often as I... Okay, I had it open in another window. Hopefully now we'll be okay. Fingers crossed. Again, thank you everyone for your patience. And it's unfortunate that this had to occur during the epilogue, but also I think it's quite revealing telling because I was so excited to discuss Digimon with other Digimon fans that I wanted to engage and I forgot to log out. Anyways, but yeah, the professor, well, very amiable at the start, the way he uses his daughter's death, uses people, and then at the end he's willing to maintain relationships. Is he willing to... Well, we already know that he uses people, so he wants to maintain it, probably because he knows how capable Leon and Eiji are. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. And the fact that he not only wanted to attend this celebration, but the only reason why he can't is because he has another meeting at the Pentagon. Like, personally for me, this kind of reminds me of Kurota from Digimon Saviors, how he worked officially with the government as well. And everyone has seen that anime. We know where that went to. We know how that concluded. So if there's ever going to be a sequel to Digimon Seekers, it wouldn't surprise or shock me if the professor is going to be the villain again, or rather if he inadvertently does something because of his egotistical nature that causes a new villain to appear. And you know what? If Digimon Seekers and Bandai Namco want to have a Seekers 2, some kind, a sequel to Seekers, I'll be more than happy to participate. I'll be more than happy to read along with that. It can't be a coincidence that they're having the professor not only want to celebrate with this group of people, the protagonists, but the fact that he's meeting with the Pentagon. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I just found that line to be a little bit crazy in a good kind of way. I'm really curious about what the professor is going to be doing in the future. Now at this point, we're shifting perspective. We're going to the Digimon within the digital world. Something wrong, Ryurimon? Lugomon asked, turning to the helmeted prototype Digimon. They sat quietly, not so much as touching the food right in front of them. I am only in attendance by virtue of my partner having been invited. Forgive me. But I cannot help but feel I do not belong here, they replied. Worry spread across her face as they tried to reconcile the role as a member of the Digipolice with their attendance at a feast held in the heart of Codecracker territory. Well, your Digipolice partner is out having drinks with Iji and the others as we speak, so I think you have permission to enjoy yourself if it helps. And my hacker partner is with them too, Postmon said, urging Ryudomon to not think too deeply about it. Indeed. Perhaps it is fine. Of course it's fine. Go on, have a drink, Postmon said, ticking up a bottle. Ryudomon picked up their glass, watched as Postmon poured a liquid of indeterminate color into it, and downed it in one swift gulp. Ugh, that is fierce. That is fierce, Ryudomon said, blinking furiously. They glanced at the label on the bottle. Demon Wolf Pure Brew. A Ninth District specialty, proudly and illegally brewed right here, Logomon said, puffing out their chest. Illegally, Ryudomon said with the start. Not that there are any laws here in the digital world, it's just data about real-world liquor that I took from Iji's Digimon linker and approximated here. Should bring in enough to fund our operations anyhow, Logomon said. Logomon had a mind for business, as it turned out. So, this line I just picked out a little bit superficially because it highlights the camaraderie between... We really looked at quotes between the camaraderie between the humans, and I like this because it shows the camaraderie between the Digimon. How Postmon and Logomon, they're being friendly towards Ryudomon. I would also argue that it would have been quite easily for Logomon to hold a grudge. I wouldn't hold that past him. He seems to be stubborn like that. But the fact that he's willing to have a drink and share his residence with Ryudomon, that's really telling of how... I'm being biased, so I was going to say how awesome Logomon is. But I shouldn't say awesome. That's really telling of how... how much of a... maybe not a critical thinker, but how much Logomon thinks about the situation that he's at play. That last line about how he's going to sound like he's going to be selling alcohol now as a way to fund their operations. Logomon had a mind for business. It really seems like Logomon is very assertive, knows how to use their agency, and thus the fact that he's willing to have a relationship, a positive one with Ryudomon, I think that's really cool. It really puts a smile on my face. And I also like the relationship too, the way that Ryudomon acts all shocked and gets illegally. But I really pointed out the positives of the human camaraderie. So of course I'm going to really appreciate and love the Digimon camaraderie. So moving forward, actually let me see. No, that's everything. I just think it's really cool. Oh wait, but there was one aspect. Give me a quick second. I'm not going to read the quote, but it turns out Iji's now the leader of the Sons of Chaos. While I was praising the story for including all the characters again, my one complaint would be, and I actually, even though I say complaint like with the nitpicking one that I picked out at first, it's no longer a nitpick for me. It makes sense. Same thing right here is not really a complaint. Let's put that in quotation marks. I think it makes sense. It just would have been nice to include this character. I do wish Marvin, the songsmith, was present. I always liked Marvin since his first introduction. And so the lack of Marvin, for me, is a little bit like, oh no, a little bit hurtful. But with that being said, I think it makes sense because we mustn't forget Marvin apparently has a child or at least that's what he said in in chapter 4 during the battle at the Ninth Avenue to enter the source domain. So one could probably assume that Marvin probably did want to join the festivities, but unfortunately he couldn't because of familial duties. I do wish there was a line of some sort that included that in the story. I think that would have been awesome. But for me, for right now, that's going to be my headcanon as to why Marvin is absent. So, like, do you remember everything now? Postmon eagerly asked, spurred on by their drink. You know, your memories of the past and all that. Postmon tried again, trying to reframe the question about Logomon's corrupted memory. Logomon sat for a moment, considering their answer. You seem to remember a bit more each time we were digivolved, and then we overheard Leon and Ichi's nice long talk. You said you were captured by DDL, right? Maybe, Logomon said with a sigh. Maybe? Does it matter? It's all in the past now. Besides, I wouldn't want to talk about it even if I did remember. Iji, well, he needs me. He's got his own future ahead of him, and I want him to do something great with it. Huh. Wow. Logomon's answer had taken a heavy turn, but Postmon's attention was already elsewhere. So I just really appreciate this line just because Logomon, again, at the beginning of the story, he was quite brash, he was quite stubborn, very controlling. But he's like that for positive reasons because he keeps in mind the team, he keeps in mind the community. And I just really love how Logomon has a chance to talk about the past, but he chooses not to and rather focuses on the future because, well, the present and the future, because right now he's working with Iji, and Logomon recognizes that Iji can do something incredible, something great. He probably just needs a little bit of assistance. He just needs a little bit of a push sometimes. And that's why Iji, well, he needs me. He's got his own future ahead of him, and I want him to do something great with it. I just really like that quote. Usually with the Digimon protagonists, I feel like the humans take care of their digital partners. And very rarely is it the opposite way where the Digimon takes care of the human. But in this instance, I would say that they're both taking care of one another. But if you ask Logomon, he would definitely say, oh, I'm definitely the one who's taking care of Iji. And I think that's really awesome, very adorable. I love that mindset that Logomon has. And I also love how, in the same way there was some social commentary, I might get a bit philosophical here. I love how Logomon just makes that statement, who cares about the past? I don't want to talk about the past. I think that's very telling of Logomon's character. And part of why he's able to go forward with his relationship with Ryudomon, not hold any grudges in terms of that, because he's able to see the possibilities that occur with himself in relation to other groups of people. So yeah, I just really appreciate that. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, and his next one will be the last line. So I guess I'll just start from the beginning. A winged dragon silhouette passed through the air above them, the Wasslum's light reflecting on its silver body. Doragurumon, they've come! A somewhat unsteady Ryudomon yelped, raising their claws to the sky in delight. So, you made it after all, Logomon said, as Doragurumon slid in for a soft landing. Hello to you too, Logomon. Where's Iji? Kosuke asked, his hollow-eyed form strolling ambulantly through the castle square. Not here yet, but he's on his way. You want to go greet him? Logomon said as he leapt down from the roof. Kosuke took a look at the SOC marking on the building before him. The black Agumon stood by his side, clutching his hand. Kosuke took up a glass and raised it to the sky. To Iji, the new leader of the SOC and his partner, Logomon, the demon wolf of the 9th District. That's the end of Digimon Seekers. I want to describe the pictures really quickly. So the first one, I guess not pictures. One of them is the video. No, I believe it is a picture. For some reason, it's not loading. Give me a second, everyone. Let me, Oh, maybe I was incorrect. Maybe there is only one picture. Oh, yeah, there is only one picture. I don't know why I thought there was two. And sorry about that, everyone. Oh, it's probably because I watched the video, I suppose, and I conflated the video with the picture. One thing I want to discuss is the picture that the story ends. I just really love it. The first time I saw it, I thought it was adorable. And the second time I saw it and examined it, I just fell even more in love with it. The first time, so it's a picture of everyone at Wasslum. with the demon castle in the background, with the three Pterodimon looking all happy and excited. Black Agumon to the far left, holding Kosuke's hand, and they're both they're both drinking something, but they're close to one another with Ryodimon. It looks like Dorogoromon. But no, it looks like it's more Doromon. I'm not sure why the story's saying Dorogoromon, unless I'm forgetting Doromon's rookie form's name. But Doromon next to Logomon, with Postmon right next to him. And in the background, I love this picture. I thought it was so cute. And then the second time I saw the picture, off in the distance, well, not too far off from the distance, we see that Eiji's walking, waving at everyone with Leon slightly behind him. Yo leans behind Eiji, and in the far background, running to catch up is Satsuki with Nunimon. Just when this ended, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, and I saw this picture when I read the last lines to Eiji, the new leader of the Sons of Chaos. I did get the chills, and what a fun, exciting story Digimon Seekers turned out to be, in my opinion. I know it may not have been everyone's cup of tea. But I really did enjoy Digimon Seekers. I think all the cast of the protagonists are great additions to the Digimon universe. I won't lie, the climax part 12, the pacing for that was quite sudden. But I'm the type of individual who's all about the journey, not just the destination. I'm a huge Mass Effect, excuse me. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, 1, 2, and 3, even with the ending. And I'm definitely going to reread Digimon Seekers. I will be posting a video for I'm not sure if I'll do a review for Chapter 4. I know I've been doing that in the past, or just for Digimon Seekers as a whole. Or maybe I'll do both, but for sure I'll be getting out my thoughts. Because I do have specific thoughts about Chapter 4, but I also have thoughts about Seekers as a whole. And I really appreciated Digimon Seekers. I'm looking forward to Digimon Liberator, which begins April 24th, a Thursday. Let me go ahead and double check that. April 25th, April 25th, a Thursday. And if everyone hasn't seen it yet, I highly encourage everyone to check out the video that Bandai Namco released to catch one up, to watch the epilogue if they want to. I love how it ends with thank you for almost a full year. That for me says that Bandai Namco was keeping in mind Digimon Seekers specifically, because Digimon Con was a celebration, it was a 25th anniversary celebration, but if they forgot, Digimon Seekers was the specific project that was meant to celebrate the 25th anniversary. Digimon Con was just the bookend for the 25th anniversary. The celebration for the 25th anniversary began with Digimon Seekers. So the way that the video ends with a thank you for almost a full year, I just want to say thank you as well to the writers of Digimon Seekers, and of course to the community who have been coming along with me. I appreciate everyone so much, and thank you so much for the engagement as well. I'm looking forward to Digimon Liberator, and that'll be an interesting thing to read, because for me personally, it will be my first web comic. I have read, obviously, one could see that I have my manga right there, right, and then my novels and stuff right there. Excuse me, but that was a hiccup. But I've never read a web comic, so I'm looking forward to that new medium. Again, thank you all so much for joining me. Have a prodigious day. And like EG, if one ever says that you're not up to par, they probably don't really know you. We all have and are aware of our own capabilities. And hopefully we can all always push forward. Take care, everyone. I'm not going to lie, in my head, I'm playing the Digimon Braveheart song. Sorry. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Have a prodigious day.